Stories that matter.
Nearly 90% of the world's sickle cell disease population live in three countries: Nigeria, India, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Nigeria alone has been estimated to have at least 150,000 babies born with sickle cell disease annually. Most of them die before the age of 5. For some who do live beyond the age of 5, have a life full of crisis.
My name is Uche. I'm a medical lab scientist and I graduated from University of Nigeria in Nsukka 2009 and I am 40 years of age. I'm a sickle cell warrior and I've lived with sickle cell anemia for 40 years since I was born.
Warrior, a name people living with sickle cell disease call themselves, happen to be really fitting, as a lot of them are warriors fighting the battles of creating awareness, helping people during their crisis, and finding ways to support one of their own. One of such persons is Uche Udense. For the past years, Uche has been fighting to create awareness about sickle cell, genotypes, and supporting those in crisis. But what happens when a lead commander of warriors is down?
Well, from onset, I never knew it could be this tough. But at the early stages of my life, it wasn't really hard on me. Not until 8 years back when I had some complications as a result of sickle cell, and that has been the worst years I've ever lived with sickle cell anemia. I came from a polygamous home and my mom happened to be the second wife of my father, and she gave birth to only me and died. She died when I was still 6 months old, so I didn't even know her. I got to see her in picture. It wasn't an easy thing on me growing up. It's just the hand of God that has been upon my life. The foundation is known as Pro-Life Sickle Cell Foundation. I'm someone who, despite all, I still believe so much in life, and I believe so much that there's a whole lot more to life, even in the pains and everything. So that's how I came about with that name, Pro-Life, because I believe so much in life and its existence. So having experiences I've had about sickle cell and the bad times I've had, and even the many times I would have even given up the ghost, but because God's hands was upon my life, that was the main reason why He still brought me back to life on several occasions. But despite that, I still know that there are a whole lot of other people who are out there suffering because of this sickle cell, and a lot of ignorance is ongoing on this side of the planet Earth because of sickle cell anemia. A lot of people still believe it's one thing and the rest of them, and so many people still don't want to get to know their genotypes before they go into any sexual relationship. But on that note, I said, let me see in the aspect I can create a positive change, if by trying to educate people and trying to let people understand the need to know your genotype before getting into any sexual relationship that may lead to childbirth. Because we wouldn't say just before marriage, because a lot of people get pregnant out of wedlock, and still if you don't know your genotype, you might still bring in a sickle cell patient into the world. Sickle cell is not a death sentence. The thing is so terrible at the moment, because to be honest with you, when I started the foundation, I was actually doing a whole lot, even with this condition. But I never knew that it would actually get to this point of really weighing me down so as not to be able to do anything again.
Ensuring a healthy life as a warrior is quite expensive, and even more expensive when there is a crisis. You find warriors selling off their property or even depending on a good deed to get their drugs to relieve them of the pain that they go through. Some are even indebted to pharmacies and hospitals. This is also the story of Uche.
Most nights I don't sleep. I stay awake. Even most of my neighbors even have to come out in the middle of the night most nights to keep consoling me, but still all to no avail. And most times in the middle of the night, if I can no longer bear the pains, I try to, even in that middle of the night, see how to get to the health facility I normally use to see how they can render assistance to me at that moment. But most times I've gone there and they've turned me down because of finances, and I tend to still be battling with the pains till morning again. And that has been a cycle that has been occurring for years now. What is expected is that I go in for a surgery, a total hip replacement surgery, and also do a plastic surgery on the leg ulcer. But the bill also is really on a high side, and the last cost we had, the last person that assessed it that we are working with now is about 6 million. I currently have AVF, that's two of my hip bones rubbing together because the tendon has parted way, and also leg ulcer. It started, that was 2012 November to be precise. That's really not something you even wish your enemy, because it's the painful nights, the nights you have crisis, serious vaso-occlusive crisis. That's the normal crisis of every day that you can easily have, aside the other ones. Then the pains are really terrible, and it makes me feel restless.
Uche needs help, and we are calling on all well-meaning Nigerians to help Uche get back as a warrior that he is.
This story is brought to you by Stories That Matter.